The symptoms were mainly swelling, soreness and flare-up and redness and what have you, and it was very debilitating.
Actually woke up in the middle of the night with a throbbing ankle, and I just thought I, injured my ankle. Hobbled down to the GP, and he had a poke and a prod and then told me, "You've got gout."
Well, I had pain on my right foot. It sort of was like this stuff kept leaking out, and I thought it was an infection. The pain was horrendous and difficult with walking.
My first symptoms were an extremely painful big toe. The pain level on a scale of 1 to 10 was probably about 12. Couldn't do anything, the pain was so extreme.
My symptoms were having flare-ups, aches and pains, and experiencing cramping in the legs as well. You couldn't walk, you just probably stay in bed and just feel very sore and depressed and feel sorry for yourself.
Well, when I was diagnosed, I was really shocked because I could appreciate that it was going to restrict a lot of the active life that I was living, a lot of the sports and the running and what have you. That meant that it had to stop. So it was very, very surprising and very disappointed in myself.
I said, that's what those old men at the pub get, drinking too much beer. I'm not old and I don't drink beer, so it was a bit of a shock. I was 21 years of age when I got diagnosed the first time.
I thought, I'm not an alcoholic, because the myth is if you've got gout, you're an alcoholic.
The diagnosis of gout, yes, it does come with some stigma attached to it. Not really easy to tell people. Arthritis was what I would say, rather than gout.
I was 19 years old. I was still a teenager going through this, and it was quite shocking to get gout or diagnosed with gout at a young age. I did not know anything of gout at that time.
Once I saw the specialist for treatment that was prescribed to me, there were two. One was 1 tablet a day to reduce the urate levels in my body, and the second was to prevent a flare-up, which would be a temporary measure, which you can then stop, which I have.
I tried 2 different medications. It took a little bit to sort of swap and change to get something that really suited me.
When I was first diagnosed, I was put on some medication, and one medication was to basically try and deal with any flare-ups, and there's another medication that I'm taking for the rest of my life to keep the uric acid levels under control.
So the medications I've tried was obviously some medications to lower uric acid levels. And then when I had flare-ups, I would take an anti-inflammatory. It took quite a long time for me to get the dose right. Obviously, not taking it is one thing, being young, and then I had to see a professor in regards to getting it right.
I get my uric acid levels checked every 6 months as part of a regular health check that I do.
They've told me that it is important to stay on the medications and to adhere your medication regime.
It's not the nicest thing to be on a medication for the rest of your life, but you understand that if you don't, you're going to get these flare-ups. So yeah, definitely, I'm happy with continuing to take it. It minimises the amount of flare-ups I have over time.
I was one of those people that felt a little bit confronted by having to take a tablet for the rest of your life. But when you've got a choice of that versus managing the pain, I soon got used to taking the tablet every day. No side effects with the medication, no.
During those younger years, I tried to manage it with diet, but that didn't work. Managing it with medication long term, it's pretty much the only answer, I feel.
I would never ever think to try and manage it just on diet. You need the medication to keep the flares and the pain away.
In the first few months that I was on the medication, I did have one flare-up. And that was probably 4 or 5 months ago, but nothing since.
I still get the occasional flare-ups. When I feel it coming, I do take a proactive approach and I take some medication to stop it from getting to its worst state.
I still get flares every now and then. Just have that care plan and just, take the medications that you need to get through that. I take a couple of, tablets to treat the flare-up and then also continue my normal medication.
I'd seen a rheumatologist and we had prepared a gout flare-up plan. And so the plan was, when I did experience some flare-ups, he told me which medications to take and the frequency of which to take the medications and the duration. And so that did work, and it does continue to work in the treatment plan.
I'm managing my gout by making sure that I take the medication every day and by also looking out for those triggers and being proactive when I do see them coming.
I drink less alcohol and stay away from certain foods and try to live a healthy lifestyle, get some diet and exercise in there at regular occasions.
I'm very good now right now. Reasonably active. I do like cycling, so I still cycle.
Not as active as what I was running marathons, but I'm still trying to keep as active as I possibly can in the gym, and now I walk the dog instead of running kilometres every morning. My
main thing that I do is gardening. I find it great therapy. I forget about everything. I do all my gardening in a chair, and I can do anything.
At the moment, being my age, I'm getting quite active, but it's more just gym-based and walking and hiking. Managing my gout into the future for me is just keep taking the urate lowering medications and just stay active, I suppose.
I'm really happy with how things are progressing. I'm pretty used to taking the daily medication. I have a family of one child, working full-time in Western Sydney, and life's good at the moment.
Looking into the future, I'd look forward to having less flare-ups, manage my condition as well as I can, and being as active as I can as I get into my last quarter of my life.
I hope I never have a flare-up, and I hope the medication I'm on, helps me achieve that result.
My advice to patients who have just been recently diagnosed would be to take advice of your medical staff, from the doctors and specialists, and to take the medication. Also to improve your diet and lifestyle choices as well. Take a holistic approach and look after yourself.
My pearls of wisdom are to be proactive, listen to what your body's telling you, take your medication and maintain your active levels as much as possible.
If you have a painful joint with a suspected diagnosis of gout, get it looked into, because if it is gout, it can be treated and you can avoid very serious complications.
Go to a specialist who specialises in gout.
You wouldn't know I have gout. I wouldn't know that I have gout.